Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have recently read and enjoyed. And I have not been able to do this episode on Friday as I generally do, and I'm doing it on a Sunday because, as some of you might be aware, my new book just came out, and on Friday I had another Instagram live where we did the virtual book launch of that new title. And my guest for today is also somebody whose new book has just come out, and we are going to discuss that. My guest is Suchita Agarwal, and we are going to discuss this YA fantasy novel by her. All roads lead here, so it's going to be a very interesting episode. To stay connected. Hi Ritu, thank you for joining us. Hi Tanvi, thank you for rejoining. Okay, Suchita, I'm sending you a request. You are able to see it and accept it. If not, I'll send you a fresh one. आप मत भेजो request. Instagram gets confused, I think, when both of us send request. Okay, the invitation hasn't gone through. I'm sending you a fresh one. I sent you a fresh invitation, Suchita. देखो आया क्या? Yes.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
Suchita. Happy
Hi.
Sunday.
Hi. Happy Friendship Day. Uh,
Yes.
Thank you
And
so much. And sorry about the tech.
yeah, that happens. So कभी कभी Instagram confuse हो जाता है कि कौन किसको invite कर रहा है भाई. So yes, first of all, congratulations on the book.
Thank you. I also have your cover. Hi.
Wow.
Congratulations on this.
Yes, very, very excited to talk to you about this book, and also actually very happy that you finally decided to bring out a full length novel. So, thank you from people like me who admire your writing so much, and I've been reading it on your blog and were wondering, book kab likhegi ye ladki? So, thank you for that. And talking about my experience of reading the book, I mean, फैंटेसी बहुत टाइम से मैंने पढ़ी नहीं है फुल लेंथ
Right.
नॉवेल में तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं पढ़ी है
Right.
and this is a genre that I was very close to in my teenage and my early 20s.
Yeah.
मतलब thick books I have read of fantasy series पूरी पूरी पढ़ी हुई है. So thank you for getting me back to a genre that I have nostalgia about.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And the characters are so relatable. मुझे school days की याद दिला दी तुमने. And the four teenagers that you have talked about, they are so varied. मतलब सबके characteristics थोड़े बहुत मेरे जैसे हैं, थोड़े मेरे friends जैसे हैं. And I don't want to give out a spoiler, but the romance is wow, like oh, really man.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
And one of the things that I really liked about the book is that you have not made it overwhelming with the details about the magic and the fantasy and the, sometimes what happens with such books and the authors tend to get very, very in depth into it, तो
Yeah.
overwhelming हो जाता है.
Right. Yeah.
And you have kept it very, I mean, hair details hand and you understand it, but it is like very simple to grasp, and at some points you have also left it to the audience, to the reader ki wo samajh jayenge. Let's not over explain it. So that is something that I really liked. And now, before I ask you the questions related to the book, I want to read out a few passages from the book. I'm going to show everyone the cover again. जाओ Kindle Unlimited पे book है पढ़ लो. And it will be available there if you are not into Kindle reading, ebook reading.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm going to read out from the first chapter itself. It was a glorious Sunday morning, one of those that held the promise of a light shower followed by a rainbow. Parth particularly loved such mornings because the earth was the one element he could manipulate without any effort. At 16, Parth was of average height, build, and color. This had caused him some heartache at 14, wondering if any boy would find him attractive enough to date him. Now he was over it. Since there was no pressing matters to attend to, no homework, tests to prepare for, or chores to finish, Parth sat on a stone step, legs folded, a sketch pad on his knees, pencil twirling in his left hand. So, first of all, I have to tell you that पहले ही पेज में you have declared कि उसको लड़के पसंद है. Like
Yes.
no drama. नो सरप्राइजेस लेटर ऑन. आई रियली लाइक दैट. हमें पता है इसकी प्रायोरिटीज क्लियर है और ऑथर ने भी पहले ही बता दिया है, तो हमें पता है कि ये लव इंटरेस्ट कहाँ जाने वाला है. Okay. The stone step was part of a pathway that led up to a lodge that was run by his chacha and chachi. The pathway was bordered by some of the most exquisite foliage, thanks in most part to Par's magic. And now we know what the magic is also a little about.
Yeah.
He loved coaxing the earth into relinquishing some of its control to him so he could shape flowers and leaves as per his fancy. The pathway inclined so gently that before you knew it, you had climbed 50 feet and reached a wide expanse of space where the lodge stood. Built with clean lines, wood, and glass windows, it stood in sharp contrast to its quaint surroundings. Many guests were often startled at the sight, wondering if they had stepped into a time warp and thus an alternate reality. I like this. This is one of the things that I'm now realizing you have played with.
Yes.
Nicely done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
At the beginning, I am now realizing, oh, now this makes more sense. Okay, so based on my reading, I had a couple of questions for you, Suchita, if you
Yes,
would be kind enough to answer them.
yes,
Firstly, my question to you is take us through the character building and the character sketch of all the characters, all the leads. Because we have the four teenagers who are the leads. And out of
right,
that, we have Parth and Saurabh who are kind of the highlight of the entire story.
right,
They also have parents who are varied and they who play a very important part in the kind of people they are turning into. So take
right.
us through what was your inspiration, what was your idea of building these characters, and what was the process like?
So the process was a little easy because this story was given to me in a way. It was like gifted to me by my sister. She was the one who was like, she had a story in her mind and she said, why don't you write it? And I told her, okay, fine, I'll write it. I obviously did my own, my muse decided that it wanted to do something differently. So obviously she's the one who doesn't like it anymore because she's like, you have ruined everything that I told you. So in that way, it was easy because the characters were sort of handed over to me.
Okay.
But in a lot of ways, it goes back to my own high school experience, the kind of, classmates I had, and the kind of, everybody comes from a very different surroundings. There are parents who are very different. They sort of shape the kind of person you are, etc. So all of that sort of played into it. I knew that I wanted four people because I had previously tried writing something with six characters and it had become very difficult for me to juggle them and to give them enough space on paper. So I thought four is a manageable number. I didn't want to go to three because I thought three is very, it's done enough. So I didn't want to go to three. So I said, okay, four sounds like a good number to have. So that's
Okay.
why I said, okay, there should be four friends, and that even in the four friends, there'll be two here and two here, and then they sort of become four. So all of
Okay.
that I knew. Faisal and Manvi's characters were very easy to define for me because I knew that Faisal is this ambitious boy who has, who's very, very scientific, who's very interested in trying to figure out how things work.
Hmm.
So Faisal was a very clear character in my head. Manvi also was, like a very clear character. I knew that she's the person who will sort of keep these boys together, who will keep them, on their toes, who will sort of, snap them out of, because all three of them are a little, they like to stay in their heads a little bit. She's the one who sort of snaps,
Yeah, she
huh,
grounds.
she grounds them in a lot of ways. So I knew about that. And then, of course, there is Parth and Saurabh, and they were a little difficult for me to differentiate. In my head, they were sort of, they'd merged into one character. So I, in fact, talked about this on a reel that I, to separate them in my mind, I took one character and I gave him characteristics of one of my classmates. And then I took
Oh,
another character and I gave him characteristics of my other classmate. And then it became very easy for me to, continue writing because he was also like Parth, the classmate he's sort of inspired from was a very popular boy in my class. He was very popular, he was very worldly wise, and but also had a very tender heart. So, hence, I sort of Parth is similar in that sense. And Saurabh's inspiration is also someone who's very quiet person, doesn't really like to talk much, but again, very loyal as a friend.
Hmm.
So those kind of obviously intermingled, but yes, that's how I did my character sketches. Parents, I honestly, this will sound very strange, but I honestly don't know how they came about. It was in the process because I realized this at my fourth or the fifth reread while I was editing it. That's when I realized that they're actually very different from each other. All sets of parents are very different. And I honestly don't know how that happened. It just happened. I was just writing it and I think I was just playing around with it that, okay, Manvi is like this. What if her parents are like this? So that it explains why Manvi is like this.
Huh.
And then Faisal is like this because Faisal is this very, he is a bit of from the archetype that I've taken is that angry young man. So
Hmm.
he is a bit like that. So then, where is that coming from? So hence his family system sort of became like that.
Hmm.
So that was what,
That is very interesting. So you kind of did the Uno reverse here. You
yes.
made the children first, and based on that characters, you devised the parents.
Yes, 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 yes. So that's there. Siddhant, that's actually a good question because I do have number preferences. So I like five as a number. I don't really like four as a number. So I actually don't know how to answer that question. They are four. I don't know why they are four teenagers, but they are four teenagers.
Yes.
Like all creative devices that you use don't make sense. Sometimes they are just, they're just what they are.
Yeah, they are just out of instinct sometimes. Yeah, we just have to trust our own process and mind.
Yes, yes, yes. And sometimes it's, it just happens and then later you realize, oh, it works. Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh wow. So सिद्धांत is saying फैजल से मुझे गैंग्स ऑफ वासेपुर की याद आ रही
wow.
है. No, that is a very different character. This Faisal is very sorted and very ambitious, and he's actually a nerd. Very different from the Faisal of Gangs of Wasseypur. हाँ, but थोड़ा सा हाँ एंग्री तो है. एंगर वाला थोड़ा है
Yes.
सिमिलैरिटी.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
liked how you said that you took the characteristics of the people you knew to separate Parth and Saurabh. That's a very
Yes.
interesting technique you used. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. I'm going to try that for characters that confuse me and they're like inseparable in my mind.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
Okay, that brings me to my second question, which I was also talking about earlier. That with some of the fantasy series and novels that I have read, a lot of time the authors takes first few chapters to for the world building. But
Yes.
what you have done is you have directly driven into it, and sometimes the concepts and the terms that we come across for the first time I explained later. So
Yeah.
was this deliberate, and what was your thought process behind doing this?
So I am actually a huge fantasy nerd. I love reading fantasy. It's my favorite genre, which is why I write a lot of fantasy. And I also, what you explained, right in the beginning, that fantasy does tend to have certain things, like it does sometimes go very in depth in terms of explaining the world, in terms of explaining what is happening. And what I have realized it is that a lot of fantasy authors do this. On the first page, they give too much information. There are too many terms introduced. There is too much information that is sort of dumped on the reader. And it gets a little difficult for me as a reader to get into the story, which
Hmm.
is why my first chapter is about one character who's sort of like a main character and his family situation, his worldview, what his powers are. So that is why my first chapter is the way it is.
Hmm.
And to answer your other question of terms, so sometimes it is deliberate, where because what happens is, again, in fantasy, there is this thing called exposition dump, where you say something and then suddenly it is followed by paragraphs of an explanation of what that term means.
Yes.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, because sometimes it can get very confusing because you're like, अरे अभी तो action चल रहा था, suddenly the explanation कहाँ से आ गई, So it sort of breaks the pace.
Hmm.
So sometimes explaining it later was deliberate. Sometimes it was, I realized, oh, I haven't explained this, I need to explain it. So then wherever I was like, okay, let me explain it here and then, do like a reverse retrofit of it. So sometimes it's deliberate, sometimes it's not. Like you just read the first chapter where I've written time warp, right?
Hmm.
Now, for people who have not read the story, you'll be like, "Ha, theek hai, okay, it's just a thing." When you come back to it, you realize, oh, it was a call, it was like an Easter egg. So
Hmm.
that was added later on. And it was very deliberately added
Oh,
later on
wow.
because
Okay.
as a Easter egg to say that, some things are coming in. Wait. So, and then there is one chapter, like again, to give you an example, there's Gaius' chapter which comes much later.
Yes.
That was a retrofit because I realized that I need to explain this character, and it wouldn't have made sense to have that explanatory chapter in the beginning because it would have
Hmm.
been, again, it would have been very out of place. When it
Yes.
comes, in my opinion, of course, readers may have different opinion, but in my opinion, when it finally comes, you are ready for it. You are like,
Hmm.
okay, I know what is happening. I know who this character is. I know what people think about this character, and then we have a his point of view character, his point of view chapter. So then it makes sense to you as a reader because you're like, okay, I'm comfortable with the rhythm of the story. So now that this explanation is come, I'm ready for the explanation. If I shift it anywhere else, it will break your flow. It will break the rhythm of the story.
Hmm.
So that is why sometimes it's deliberate, sometimes it's a retrofit. So it depends.
Nicely done. And also, when you were answering, I had this thought. मैंने पहले क्यों नहीं realize किया ये that you have a character like Faisal who later comes and explains all this. Was that also deliberate that एक nerd type character चाहिए मुझे जो समझा सके ना सिर्फ leaders को but also to the other three?
No, that happened as the story progressed.
Okay.
So in fact, Faisal went through a lot of rewrites. He is the one character who went through a lot of rewrites. Because when I started, he was a completely different character. And also I wrote this story, like originally I wrote it in 2021. Again, you're a very different person. Now my writing has evolved, my thought process has evolved. So when I read it, when I was editing it for the final purposes of like, okay, I'm going to put it out there, I realized I don't like what I have done, how I've treated Faisal's character. So
Hmm.
I almost rewrote the whole thing,
Hmm.
rewrote his entire arc, in fact. And then I was satisfied. I was like, okay. But that just happened. He's the explaining one, but that just happened very organically for his character.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the terms that we come across are explained by that one character, and I was like, हाँ ये भी एक अच्छा idea हो सकता है कि have one character who is doing all this.
But in a way that, there are two explanations. So you also get one, there are adults also who explain, and then there is Faisal also who sort of explains it as per his understanding, and then the adults, because the adults have more information, they explain it in that way. So,
Hmm.
it just sort of reinforces what is happening.
Yes, and
Mm.
you were talking about the explanation breaking the flow of the story. तो सिद्धांत is saying रुकावट के लिए खेद है times, which is true. Yes, a lot of them the fantasy stories tend to meander into other, मतलब digress हो जाती है कि come to the point.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's fun when they do that, when they go on side quests, so to speak. Sometimes that's fun. And sometimes I get it that, if you are not a fantasy reader, it will get frustrating for you. So I get that also.
Yes. Okay.
And can I just take Siddhan's question? He's saying key element in the book. What is the key fantasy element? So Siddhan, there's basically magic, which is based on elements. So all the characters, they can manipulate either air, earth, water, or fire. So that's the main fantasy element of it.
I was immediately reminded of Captain Planet, by the way.
Yes, yes. I love Captain Planet as a child. I loved watching that cartoon series. I used to really
Yes.
enjoy it. Yes.
And I think you had also shared about something about Captain Planet a few days ago on Instagram. I don't recall. I think it was a story.
Yes.
And
हाँ हाँ IMDb का कुछ था that they are I think creating a movie out of those characters or something like that. Yes, they are bringing it back. Yeah, yeah.
और उसके शायद 2-3 दिन बाद I started reading your book and I was like, oh my god, what is this universe conspiring? And then I also realized, यहाँ ये Captain Planet का तो inspiration यहाँ पे भी आया है. Now I know she's a fan.
Yes, 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 yes. That's true.
Okay. So that brings me to the end of my questions that I had for you. You have also read my latest book. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I will give context first. I had read a few of these when Manali had put it on her blog for A to Z, and I had found them really funny and fun and relatable. So then when in fact, she told me that oh, let's do an author collaborative. So I said, "How? Okay, I'll read Embraces in Ink." And she said, no, my new book is coming out. I was like, why are you already out with another book? So then she sent me the PDF of the book, and I started reading it. And what I really enjoyed is how relatable they are, how witty you are in them. And of course, I have to mention this: the illustrations themselves. They are very beautiful. That is first thing. Second thing is that I love that the girls are voluminous. They are not thin. They are not always pretty. They do have double chins. They do have bulges here and there. So I love that. I was like, I've never felt more represented before than this. So I really enjoyed that about the illustrations that you had done. And yes, Siddhant, I absolutely agree. It is funny. It is very witty. And in fact, that before I read it, it is a part of my questions also, this wittiness and funniness. It's a part of my questions. So let me read. This is the book. So I have it on my Kindle.
And I am holding the paperback. So please,
Yes.
don't format me available है, go check it out. Both of our books, in fact.
Yes, so it is available on KU, it is available on Kindle, it is available on paperback, so you have all options.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out something which, hold on, I've highlighted because these two are like my favorites. Wait, why are you not showing me mine? Here. Okay. So, okay, this is the first one. So I'll show you the illustration if you can see it.
Yes. Yes, I can see the highlight also.
Yeah, so this is the one, right? Okay. So this is from the chapter which is titled F. So this is called Freedom to Do Whatever I Want Without the Burden of Responsibilities or Being Answerable to Anyone, even for a little period. Then we have the illustration which says today's agenda: out of office, out of kitchen, out of cares to give. If productivity tries to find me, tell it I ran away. This must be what celebrities feel like on their day off. Did I do anything important today? No. Am I thriving? Yes. Living the good life finally. And then what I really liked is there is a little bit of a caption below the illustration which says responsibility called I hit decline. So that sentence. I actually wrote that sentence in my notes because I said I wish I could do this at least once. And I do sometimes do this, like you mentioned in this, that I do this a lot. I take myself out on dates. So that is why I really, loved this one. And because today I think both of us are having a good hair day, so let me just read this one more. Good hair days aligning with my plans for the day. Days that aren't ideally a stay at home and when other people besides me are involved in said plans, or if there's any proof of the day being documented, which may later turn up on the internet. So now there is an illustration over here. And here's what it says. I'm so happy that for once the hair is behaving on a day of outing. Gosh, I hope they stay this way for at least a couple of hours. Now let's make the most of it by clicking as many photos as possible. I do this all the time. When I'm having a good hair day, I will take a couple of pictures just, in case I need it. We must have evidence that my hair can behave. Only thing missing now is a gust of wind to blow my hair, and the main character vibe check will be complete. This, in fact, reminded me of, I don't know, 2000s में ना, there used to be these Indian soaps were actually nice in 2000s. That's what I feel. अब तो बहुत ही मतलब weird हो गए हैं. But वो हमेशा होता था. There used to be the love interest and हवा चलती थी या तो उसके बाल उड़ते थे, उसका दुपट्टा उड़ता था, and the boy would either catch it or get it or it will fly on his face or whatever. This reminded me of that. And let me read one more, which I have also highlighted because this is from the chapter O. And it says oversized clothes and the freedom to wear them without getting the stink eye or judgmental looks, which is why it happens mostly at home when I'm unbothered about physical appearance and not expecting any visitors. Sigh. So here is the illustration which Manali has done themselves. All the illustrations Manali has done. So this outfit says I've given up, but in a stylish, confident way. Because I'm not wearing clothes, I'm wearing freedom. And the line below the illustration says, would I win if they do a most shabbily dressed competition? Hell yeah. So this,
And
because I Saturday, Sunday, so I will wear my most faded pajama and my most faded t-shirt. So इसलिए today when my sister saw me all like, dressed up and all, she said, तुम क्या कर रही हो? आज Sunday है. हाँ, but I have a live session, so I need to.
out of character behavior.
Very out of character behavior. So those are the illustrations. And now coming to my two long form questions. First is this is what I felt, that you have not censored yourself in the book. There are a lot of attacks that you have made. Some of them are gentle, some of them are not so gentle. So I want to ask you, what was the journey of this book like? What made you foray into illustrations? And did you worry that your attacks were a little too strong? And did you at any place feel that, okay, maybe I need to censor myself a little bit?
Yes. No, so I'm just going to address Siddhant's comment first. Manali is the most OTT of us. Shabbily dressed kab se. You have not seen me when I don't have an audience. Okay. Now coming to your question. So I'll start with the journey of this book. So the idea for this book actually came to me back in 2020. From 2020 to 2021, I was doing a series on my socials, which was titled "Silly Things That Make Me Happy," and the hashtag became very popular. About once in a week or once in 10 days, I would put up something which was, one of these things. I'm pretty sure I have listed them here in the book also, but I used to put them up and they were very popular and people were laughing and relating it to it a bit too much. मैंने एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था कि ये सारी चीजें इतनी रिलेटेबल है. मुझे लगा था मैं ही एक weird हूँ. So the idea was to publish this book as my fourth book. By that time, I had put out a poetry book. I had put out a full length novel. Non-fiction was the only genre that I had not done, sort of. Short stories were also done. उसकी भी एक book आ चुकी थी. So in the publishing schedule for myself, I had thought कि सबका एक एक genre I will put out first and then I will repeat those genres after all the genres का एक एक book आ जाए. Life happened and something or the other came up. The series also I had to stop doing on my socials because I lost my Instagram account. I had a huge following back then, 10K plus ka following tha. I lost that account.
Okay.
So I actually lost the will to create the content around this particular series. तो मैंने बिल्कुल ही बंद कर दिया था. But because I also have cross posting, तो मेरे पास सारे posts थे because I was also cross posting them on Facebook.
Okay.
And I did make a folder compiling all the silly things that I had put up on socials by then. But I had forgotten about it क्योंकि मुझे,
Yeah.
motivation had completely gone. I tried focusing on genres that I was comfortable with. I had already done. I didn't want to
Yeah.
indulge in a genre that I had never done because already fear was there out of because of losing the social media handle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I completely forgot about it. The idea again actually came back thanks to you. If you remember, we had done a episode before on the author
Yes.
collaborating,
Yes.
and we were
Yes.
both discussing the book ideas that we had in mind, and they were lying in our drafts folder, and we were ignoring them completely.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
So you talked about the fantasy story that you have always been wanting to write, and then you converted that into your A to Z story for this year.
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
like, Suchita is doing that. Why can't I also take the one that I have forgotten and convert it into a series? Let's see how the response is to that. Maybe that will give me the, confidence that I was lacking in the content at that
Yeah.
time. So I converted those into the Block Chatter A to Z series, where I again used the same hashtag that I had used for my series, for my socials that I was using in 2020 and 2021. Silly things that make me happy. And I had titled the series Quirks and Smirks with M.
Yeah.
And as part of the series, what I had done is I was experimenting. I didn't want to put everything out. And I wanted to kind of, not only tell the things, but also talk about explaining them through illustrations because, the idea was there at that time also कि इसको तो illustration के साथ ही करना पड़ेगा. That is the magic of these things.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
So for Block Chatter A to Z, I use that. Within the first two or three posts only, I the response was so positive that it gave me the confidence that I had lost in
Right.
this particular idea. And then
Yeah.
I was like, अब तो मतलब खुल गया पिटारा. I don't want to hold myself back anymore. So that is
Yeah.
where the idea of, my unfiltered version coming out in the open. I don't want to hold myself back at all. Because the
Right.
blockbuster community and whoever was reading those posts, they were very responsive to it. They were loving the posts that I was putting out. The pointers were all very relatable for them. So मैंने फिर no filters Manali for everyone to see was out then.
That
Then I
is nice.
continued. Yeah, so I continued that no filtered version for the duration of the challenge, A to Z challenge. And then I was like, let's continue doing this. And now it's a good idea to maybe take this ahead with a book also.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
were still many more hurdles to cross. But that's how the journey of the unfiltered version came about.
Okay.
And I've also used the book and the illustration as a source of, my venting out also. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you are not able to, bring out
Yeah.
your unfiltered version in front of some people because we have to survive in society also.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
both these factors कि जो मैं बोल नहीं पा रही हूँ वो in the form of these illustrations and pointers and the captions has come out. And the second one was that I was lacking the confidence, but the community kind of, put in that confidence back into me कि हाँ ये unfiltered version लोगों को पसंद आएगा. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad to know you did not censor yourself. That's amazing.
So this is not an ullu, this is a peacock.
Oh, even I thought it's an owl first. Huh? Yeah. 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 Okay. Now, of course, we have to come and talk about the illustrations because that's, I know, the big part of the story. So you have mentioned in your disclaimer that, you used AI to get like the first image and then you did your own sort of magic on it and you added dialogues and you added text and, there is a text in the beginning, there is like a caption below the illustration. So how did how did all of that come together? How did you manage to keep it so funny and relatable? And even though I will say this, even though there are attacks, it doesn't feel it feels like you're laughing with us and not laughing at us. So, how did that happen? How did you manage to keep the humor intact throughout the illustrations? And Manali informed me that there are 162 illustrations, so that's a lot of illustrations. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so the journey of the illustrations has been a very long one. So back in 2020-21, when I first had the idea, I was like, करना तो है illustrations के साथ करना है, and at that time also I had reached out to a few artists, but life happened as I mentioned कि वो Instagram वाला चीज हुआ, I lost my handle. Then I stopped talking to the artists also. I was in fact in touch with two of them, but then I said sorry to them and I we closed the chapter there. And then when I started doing the A to Z series, मुझे लगा था कि I actually wanted to do a mix of black and white and colorful illustrations. Okay, so if you go back to the series that I have done on the blog,
Yeah,
some of the illustrations are actually in color and some of the illustrations are in black and white.
yeah,
But the idea was always there to have something which looks like a comic book. So
right.
that 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 feature I wanted to have irrespective of whether I went with monochrome or with color. So after the series was done, I reached out to a few people asking them, hey, you have read the series now. What are your thoughts? Should we go with colors or should we go with monochrome? And the unanimous answer was black and white. So that's how I stuck to
Okay,
monochrome. Yes, uh, the
okay,
the monochrome ones were the ones that people really liked and related to. The colorful ones, actually, I had used my own images and converted them into animated version. So
okay,
those
okay.
were not giving that much of an appeal क्योंकि लोगों को लग रहा था ये फेक है. While the black and white ones were actually giving a very earthy feeling to them कि ये हाँ ये कुछ किसी ने बनाया है ऐसा लग रहा है.
Oh, very interesting.
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay.
So that's how I zeroed down on the idea of having them all as monochrome. Black and white ही करना है. So वो comic strip वाला feature भी आ रहा था and it was looking very earthy also. And once I decided to do that, that was the time when I reached out to all the artists that I had in mind. पहले तो वो आर्टिस्ट मेरे टच में है नहीं अब जो 2020-21 में जिनको मैंने रीच आउट किया था. आई एम नो लॉन्गर इन टच विद देम एंड ऑल्सो दे हैव बिकम much bigger now. They don't have the bandwidth to do projects like this anymore.
Right.
I reached out to few more newer artists. I asked people if they know someone, and across the conversation with all of them, two major impediments were that it would cost me a lot because it has 162 illustrations, and illustrators do charge for per illustration. So if I'm going
Yeah.
for 162 illustrations, and even if we take the smallest amount for each, the minimum amount was coming to around 30K. And I was like, ये तो मेरा ROI कभी हो पाएगा for an
Yeah.
indie
Yeah.
author. That's the first thought that comes to you. If you are
Yeah,
putting in that.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm putting in that much amount, I was like, इसको recover तो कोई guarantee नहीं है इसका recovery होगा.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that idea was out. I started asking people around कि अब इसका solution क्या है. So they suggested to me, in fact, that why don't you go with AI? Because मेरे दिमाग में भी AI से related, I had mixed feelings about it myself because
Right.
there's so much noise around AI that people are AI is taking away our jobs and all of that. And for artists it matters even more. But I was like,
Yeah.
हाँ, affordability factor है, and also the other factor was time. I wanted to put out the book in July or August, and all the illustrators that I spoke to, they were like, इसमें कम से कम एक साल लगेगा because if you want to do
Wow.
152 illustrations, we don't have that much time to and
Right.
it won't be. चलो एक साल नहीं 8 महीने तो लगेंगे ही.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that was not something that was aligning with my plans for publishing the book. So these two reasons I let go of the idea of hiring an illustrator. And that's when, if Siddhant is still here, shout out to Siddhant. He was the one who suggested कि Google use करो because that has one of the best AI image generators that he works with them a lot, I feel, and he knows which one works best. And I tried one illustration there, and I was so happy with the outcome. But then I also realized that when I'm putting in the dialogue with the illustration that मुझे ये dialogue चाहिए illustration के साथ, the there was misspellings and the words were
Yes.
yeah, words
Yeah.
were
Yeah. Yeah.
तो वहां से फिर मुझे लगा कि यार illustration let's make it from Google, but then I'll have to do something about the text myself. So I downloaded those illustrations by putting in the prompts first. First of all, the prompts, when you put them, you don't get them right in the first go. Some
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them,
yeah.
some of them took me at least 30 attempts, some of them. And a
Yeah,
few, I don't think एक ही बार में कोई भी आया है. Minimum 2 attempts सब में गए हैं.
yeah,
So yeah, after I was happy with the illustration that Google was generating for me, I downloaded those illustrations. Then I superimposed the text box on them, and then I put in the text in the speech bubble later. पहले तो हाँ, उसको I have to also say that मैंने कैसे किया. I downloaded the illustration. Put them on a PowerPoint slide, and then
yeah.
we have the feature of adding the speech bubbles on PowerPoint. So I added those speech bubbles. उसके अंदर फिर मैंने text डाला, and then I was like कि ये कुछ मजा नहीं आ रहा है, because for the series also with each illustration I had put a caption, and the captions were actually a hit, a much bigger hit than the pointer itself. So I continued the same with the caption idea in the book also. And after about 4 or 5 were done, I shared those with a few of my friends. Again, Siddhant was also one of them. And they really liked it. They really liked the outcome. So I went ahead with all of it. And that's how the whole process came about. The
Wow.
160 illustrations, kaise bani.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. मतलब this is like legitimately labor of love. ये labor ही काफी ज्यादा.
Yes, काफी.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, by the time I finished the 162 illustrations, I was so used to Google Gemini कि मुझे मतलब I had tamed it by then. मुझे पता
Yeah.
है what will work and what will give me the prompt that I'm looking.
Yeah.
What kind of prompt will give me the result that I'm looking for.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
When I started designing the cover, I was like, let's take it one step ahead. I can use this for creating the cover image also. Why not? So I just put in the prompt that I was using for most of my illustrations. But this time I said I want it in color, not in black and white. And that's one go. The cover is one go, by the way.
Wow. Cover is very pretty. It really sort of captures, what the book is about. So, like your everyday moments and, finding humor in those moments. So, your cover really captures that. Yeah.
Yeah, and after 162 illustrations, इतनी मेहनत के बाद और हजारों prompts के बाद, I was able to tame Google to an extent कि ये first time में आ गया. So I feel very proud of myself कि oh, I know how to use Google now.
I get that. I get that. Because even mine, like the cover, was like, I don't know how many versions of the cover I made. And finally, I stuck to this cover because I was like, no, this captures the heart of the story. So I'm going to keep it this. Even though on the cover there are kids and technically the story is about teens, but I was like, no, this captures the heart of the story. So I'm going to keep it to this only. So yes, I get it is. It's not the easiest to sort of convert your vision into a cover. So that's I get that. Yeah.
Actually, that was also one of the impediments. I was like, मैं खुद इतनी फंसी हूँ. The illustrator will get frustrated with me कि 162 illustrations कभी कर पाएगा वो. And also I live in a different country. So time
Yeah.
zones manage करना, and then the communication barrier is always there.
Yeah.
सिद्धांत
Yeah.
is saying, illustrators are acting like Mumbai auto वाला. इतना लगेगा, चलना है तो चलो.
ये मुंबई के ऑटो वाला ऐसे नहीं काम करते हैं, बैंगलोर वाले ऐसे काम करते हैं. मुंबई वाले सब मीटर से चलते हैं. एक्सक्यूज मी, मुंबई वाले ऑटो वाले बहुत अच्छे हैं.
We don't speak ill about our own town. Yes, no.
नो, नहीं नहीं, ए मैं जेन्युइनली बोल रही हूँ. हमारे बॉम्बे के ऑटो वाले तो बहुत अच्छे होते हैं. प्लीज, दे आर वेरी
Actually,
नाइस.
comparatively much better. Yes.
या.
Okay. I think that brings us to the end of the long form questions we had for each other.
Yes.
Let's move to the more fun part, the rapid fire round. We'll do it back
Yes.
and forth. One question I ask, one question you ask. Okay.
Oh.
I'm just pulling up my questions. I don't know why my WhatsApp is behaving weirdly today. Just give me a second. Uh, okay, you can ask your first question till then because this is taking a lot of
Okay.
time. Huh.
Okay. So My first question to you is there is one illustration which is on strawberry cream. And it was so interesting. You had written in the speech bubble strawberry cream, and I was like, this is about Mapro. I just knew you are talking about Mapro. So now my question is, what is something that you absolutely have to eat every time you visit Bombay?
Oh my God, you asked me to pick one. There are so many things. This is difficult. मैं इनफैक्ट कल शाम से आफ्टर रिटर्निंग फ्रॉम आवर लंच. Okay, spoiler alert. Suchita and I also met for lunch yesterday.
Yesterday.
तो आफ्टर आई केम बैक होम फ्रॉम दैट लंच, मैं शाम से रो रही थी. पता है कि मुझे साबूदाना खिचड़ी खानी है. अभी तक वो ख्वाहिश पूरी नहीं हुई है. एंड नाउ फाइनली आज डिनर में आ रहा है वो आइटम. आई एम वेरी हैप्पी. सो दैट इज वन थिंग, साबूदाना खिचड़ी. देन अभी दोपहर में लंच में मिसल है, तो वो दोनों
हाँ
आइटम हो गए. एंड ऑन द फर्स्ट डे इटसेल्फ वड़ा पाव तो खाया ही.
हाँ हाँ हाँ, वड़ा पाव तो goes without saying. Very
ये
nice.
दो तीन चीजें हैं तो वो तो चाहिए ही. स्ट्रॉबेरी क्रीम इज मैप्रो, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं हो सकता. हाँ बिल्कुल.
Yes. Especially बॉम्बे वालों के लिए.
अच्छा, सिद्धांत सिंह, आई थॉट ऑर्थो कोलैबोरेटिव फिजिकल मीटिंग में होगा.
ये
नहीं नहीं,
सिद्धांत ये आइडिया पहले देते ना, ये अब दे रहे हो.
yes. Okay, my
Next
first
time.
question to you is yes.
Yes.
What do you think you and I are in the world of all roads lead here universe? Would we be the sparks, catalysts, or loners, and why?
Okay. So again, to some of the viewers, you may not understand these terms. So I'm not going to explain the terms to you because it's kind of a little bit of a spoiler, so I will not explain. But I will say this, that I've always seen catalysts as like support systems, right? They are the ones who are like champions.
Hmm.
So championing people, that's how I see a catalyst. So I feel that both of us will be catalysts because of all the wonderful work that you do with your author collaborative. So hence you'd be a catalyst. And I think I'd be a catalyst because I love listening to people's stories. So I just like whether it's a story of triumph or a story of struggle or a story, just a regular story. So that is why I will say catalyst. Siddhant, science fiction भी लिख रही हूँ. Next, I'm actually wondering कि I have two ideas which I want to explore next. One is of course AI based, where there is going to be a character which is an AI, so that would become science fiction. And there is one which is a little adult in terms of 18 plus also, which may have some 18 plus content. So I'm still figuring out कि next कौन सी लिखूं. So लिख रही हूँ science fiction भी लिख रही हूँ.
This is not science fiction. थोड़ा बहुत है science,
हाँ
scientific terms थोड़े बहुत हैं, but it's
हाँ
not science fiction.
हाँ, this one is not science fiction. This is fantasy. Okay.
Okay.
My next question.
Siddhant is also asking me, well, by the way, Manali has promised to write a romantic horror for us. इस बुक को बाहर आते आते 4-5 साल हो गए. उसको उसको आने में अभी थोड़ा और कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए मुझे, बट यस आई विल डू इट.
Romance horror sounds very interesting.
Okay, your turn.
Okay. My turn. I love how you roast your husband. Your dedications are my favorite to read. So, and in one of your illustrations, you have written, is it socially acceptable to marry a waffle? So I felt so seen in that because every time, you know, I eat a waffle, I बिल्कुल मुझे ऐसी लगता है कि मैं यहीं पे बस बैठ जाऊं 2 मिनट के लिए उस waffle को खाने के लिए. So I really like that. So coming to the question, if you had to describe your husband as a food item, what would you choose?
Food item, dal chawal, comfort food.
How nice. I like that answer. That's a very nice, very sweet answer.
Okay, so Pinky is saying huge congratulations to both brilliant writers. Here's to your books becoming a big hit. Thank you so much, Pinky.
Thank you so much, Pinky. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Okay, my next question to you is, out of Path, Saurabh, Faisal and Manvi, who would you avoid if they were in the same school or class with you? And who would you immediately befriend and why?
So I would definitely avoid Faisal because he's too intense. And also, I feel that he and I are too similar. So, you know, that is why I would be like, I will avoid him. And befriend, I would befriend Manvi immediately because She is the one, who sort of gets the boys off their ass. And I feel that I usually need someone like that in my life who can tell me, Acha baat, utho ab, get up. So that's why.
Yeah, and
I,
Manvi is such a fun character. I was like, ये तो मतलब this is the perfect person. जो वो कहावत है ना, छोटा पैकेट बड़ा धमाका. I loved her character. Okay, your turn.
Thank you. Okay. So this question I had to ask because I'm constantly on the lookout for a good pair of jeans. So your jeans fit well. Spill the secret. What's your favorite brand?
That's got to be a tie between Levi's and Lee Cooper. हाँ, दोनों का अच्छा फिटिंग है. I love them. थोड़े आउट ऑफ बजट हो जाते हैं, मतलब पूरे महीने का बजट चला जाता है उसमें, बट या I love
अभी
the.
मनाली अभी डिस्काउंट चल रहा है लिवाइस में.
हाँ हाँ क्या जाना पड़ेगा. Okay. My next question to you. Which set of parents are closest to what your parents are in real? Tell us the most embarrassing or hurtful thing that they have done, in your opinion, to protect you.
Okay, so I think Sudhir and Sharmila are the ones who are closest to what my parents are like. So Sudhir and Sharmila are Parth's Chacha Chachi. And why Parth is living with his Chacha Chachi and not his parents is something which is sort of revealed in the book. Um, I wouldn't say it was hurtful, but it was a little embarrassing. There was a point in my life where I wasn't working. And they would, give very random and vague answers every time somebody would ask कि आपकी बेटी क्या करती है. And they would give very random answers. I'm like, बोल दो ना नहीं कर रही है इस समय कुछ, or she's in the middle of something, or she's figuring things out. Why do you have to give like vague answers कि नहीं नहीं वो बस मतलब अभी पढ़ाई कर रही है या कुछ ऐसे, like they would कि वो राइटर है ना वो लिख रही है, तो मैं नहीं लिख रही हूँ पर what do you mean writer है लिख रही है? Because then follow up question was अच्छा क्या लिख रही है, उसने publish कर दिया क्या? So that used to be embarrassing when they used to make up answers to people's questions. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that honest answer. Okay, your turn.
Okay. So your book is about everyday moments and finding, like I said, finding humor in your everyday life, observing your surroundings or observing people. So what's the first thing you notice whenever you travel somewhere?
What's the first thing? मैं तो नेचर ही देखती हूँ. How much of nature is there in any place? मुझे यहाँ पे शांति मिलेगी कि नहीं? That is the first priority. So हाँ, how is the nature around that place and how many people are there at the place? These are the
Okay.
first two things. ज्यादा लोग हैं तो भाई भागो. नहीं नहीं यहाँ तो मुझे शांति नहीं मिलेगी. And if I am myself traveling with people, मैं कोई एक secluded corner ढूंढ लेती हूँ कि यहाँ मुझे थोड़ा मी टाइम मिलेगा, जिन लोगों के साथ मैं ट्रैवल कर रही हूँ उससे थोड़ा अलग से मैं बैठ सकती हूँ यहाँ पे. So these two
That's
things.
nice.
Okay.
Nice, nice, nice.
Uh, my next question. If the four teenagers were to read my book, uh, what's the one word that each of them would use to describe it and why?
वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन. सो अब इसके लिए मैंने आंसर लिखे हैं बिकॉज आई लाइक ये मैं ऑन द स्पॉट नहीं आंसर कर सकती. Okay, so I think Parth would find it very humorous because I think he has a very good sense of humor. He would have a very good sense of humor. Faisal, I think, would treat it as a study book because he'll be like, I need to understand how humans sort of are in the wild. So he will actually treat it as a course book. Saurabh will be very envious because he'll be like, why can't I be so much fun? That even I'm like this, but I can't, why can't I be so much fun? So he will be very envious. And Manvi would want to befriend you because she'll be like, this is so cool. Like, this is so cool that I would want to, befriend the person who has written this. So, yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm just going to read out a few comments to your question about noticing the first thing at a place. So Siddhanta said, good place to take a photo. वो देखती है मनाली. Sukanna has also said background for photo or trees. This is true. Photo कहाँ अच्छा आएगा? That is also on the top of my head. Definitely. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so there is an illustration that you have done on yapping, which I found very hilarious. So, what's a topic that you can talk about without any preparation?
Books, books and movies. कोई भी बोल दो मतलब लोग पूछते नहीं है फिर भी मैं रेकमेंड करती रहती हूँ. In fact, there is one pointer where I've talked about my recommendations also, and उसके नीचे caption में लिखा है कि hi, I'm Manali. I am somebody who will keep recommending the movies and books that I like till you say okay, or till you finally go and read or watch them. So yeah, that's
Nice.
one. Those are two things that I can talk about without any preparations. Okay,
That's cool. That's
my
cool.
last question to you is: of the 162 pointers and illustrations, which one would all of the characters relate to the most and why?
Okay. Again, I had to write this answer down. So, Parth would like the park benches ones because he loves nature.
Hmm.
So, that would be his answer. Faisal would really like yes moments because Faisal is new to friendship in the book. Again, if you read it, he's new to friendship. He's new to demanding things from people. He's not very good at it.
Yeah.
So he would feel very happy when the friends group will say yes to any of his plans. So
Oh.
hence yes moments. Saurabh would talk about awesome comeback at the right moment because he's the one who will overthink. So if he is able to say the right thing at the right moment, he'll be very happy with it. And Manvi, of course, warped sense of humor because she's the one who loves cracking jokes and making people feel comfortable with them.
So Siddhant is so disappointed. So rapid fire scripted है ये तो coffee with Karan हो गया.
हाँ ना
No, it is
अभी
not scripted.
इट
अभी
इज
आधे
नॉट
घंटे
ऑल
पहले पूछने
स्क्रिप्टेड
में है. आधे घंटे
यस
पहले.
करेक्ट करेक्ट अरे आंसर तो पता होना चाहिए ना अभी वरना सब बोर हो जाएंगे इफ यू आर जस्ट सीइंग आ
Silence हो जाएगा. For definitely for people like me and Suchita, it would be awkward silence because off the top of
यस
the head तो नहीं हम बोल पाएंगे कुछ.
यस आई एग्री
Okay, that brings us to the end of the rapid fire round, and now we do the fun bingo which I have designed around this book. Okay, you
वाओ
would have to answer a few questions related to some of the pointers from the book. Yes or
ओके
no about it. Okay, so my first
ओके
question to you is: saw a perfect sunset in the past week.
नो
Hmm. Okay. Never mind. अभी हो जाएगा कोई बात नहीं. Life is long. Next one. Jeans that fit just right.
आई डू हैव वन पेयर यस
Okay, awesome. उसको संभाल के रखो बहुत precious.
हाँ हाँ बहुत प्रेशियस है आई एग्री
Okay. Next one. Ate ice cream before it melted.
Shockingly enough, when you order from Zomato, it does come properly. It doesn't melt. So, yes, I have had ice cream that doesn't melt.
Okay, awesome. Next one. Nailed a witty comeback at the right time.
Hmm. I think, yes, I have done that. I can't, don't ask me to give an example, but I have done that.
This is non-scripted, Siddhant. See, she has requested. Don't ask me what.
Don't ask me what, but I have done it. I know that.
Okay. Next one. Spotted a rainbow in the past 1 year. मैं 1 year का दे रही हूँ क्योंकि kids
हाँ
को तो
I have but because generally na in the rainy season outside my window I usually see a rainbow but इस साल नहीं दिखी है but in last year दिखी थी so yes I have seen a rainbow.
yes, awesome. Okay. Next one. Doodle something just for fun.
Yes,
Wow. Great. Now the next two are a little.
I think I can show it to you also
Oh yes, please do.
because it was very random and I did it because I was feeling extremely you know that my head will explode if I don't do something. So I did something extremely random.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. What is that?
Nothing. It's nothing. That's why I told myself you're not making anything which will make sense. Just hold your pen and just let your pen do whatever it wants to do. So
Nice.
yes, I did do a doodle.
Actually, that looks like the entrance to the time warp.
Oh, not a bad point. Yeah.
Okay. Ate your comfort food in the past week.
Yeah, I had it yesterday. I
Ooh,
had
yes.
I had pasta. I had pasta, and I love Italian food, so I had pasta, and of course the dessert that you and I shared was really really good.
Yes,
So
it was really
yes.
nice. So Siddhant has views about the art that you should just showed. ये abstract art है.
नहीं सिद्धांत, ये मेरे दिमाग का जो दही हो जाती है ना, ये वो है.
Oh, that brings me to my next question because you said dahi. Had yogurt as a condiment with your food.
अरे, I think yesterday I had aloo ke parathe for dinner yesterday. So yes.
Ah, awesome. Okay, next one. Reconnected with an old friend.
Again, yesterday happened now. We reconnected. All of us were, we met and we had so much fun.
Yes. क्या था डेजर्ट में? Oh, we had a pastry.
We had a pastry which had milk chocolate, white chocolate, and then dark chocolate and a layer of biscuit.
Yes, it was very nice. I think it was called Trio.
Yes. ये
पास्ता
पास्ता विद दही नहीं
नहीं
खाया.
नहीं वो पास्ता विद दही नहीं था वो रात का डिनर था आलू
हाँ,
पराठे
डिनर में दही खाया, लंच में पास्ता खाया.
okay last two questions and I had so much fun framing this question the last, tell us the last time when you took a shower without adjusting the knobs for temperature or the speed.
Ooh, nice. Today morning only. Because I
Oh
think I figured out कि इधर से थोड़ा इधर होगा तो it will not be very hot, especially because when you're washing your hair, you can't have very hot water. So today in
lucky
the morning.
aji hua okay and the next one when was the last time you burst a bubble wrap.
You know, my book, it actually came in bubble wrap. So I did burst a few bubbles that time before I unwrapped the books. So yes.
Nice one. Okay, awesome. You did very well on that. I think there was
Thank
only
you.
one though. Perfect
हाँ,
one.
in the beginning, because and like Siddhant said, ना यहाँ पे तो there are so many clouds, you can't see a sunset right now.
ना ना
Yeah.
अभी तो monsoon season चल रहा है. So a little leeway with that. Otherwise,
हाँ,
100.
also I'm in East, so I don't really see the sunset. I'll have to go somewhere else to be able to see the sunset. I do see a sunrise though.
Oh, but do you wake up for the sunrise? That's the important question.
No, I'm usually asleep.
Okay, awesome. This was so much fun, Suchita. One more time, let's just show everyone our books. Just a minute. I'm also going to show your book first.
Okay.
ये वाली मेरे पास है. I have a Kindle and Suchita is holding the paperback and now I will hold the paperback of my book and Suchita
Yes,
will
and
hold.
I will hold the Kindle. Wait, let me go. Let me navigate to the cover so that I can show the cover. Hold on. Here is the Kindle version.
Go check it out on Amazon. Both of our books are available on Kindle Unlimited. And if you don't have the subscription also, they are not very expensive. I think you can afford them.
Yes.
And they are worth it. And paperback is also available. Go check it out.
Yes. Yes.
सिद्धांत saying किताब साइड में पहले बबल रैप फोड़ेंगे बिल्कुल
Yes.
प्रायोरिटीज आर क्लियर.
Yes, yes, yes. Because I was also, Siddharth, don't forget, I was also a little worried because this was like the first time I was doing something like this. So I was like, पहले थोड़ा stress burst कर लेते हैं, फिर उसके बाद book खोल के देखेंगे.
दोनों अपनी अपनी वाली भी पकड़ लो. हाँ अपनी अपनी वाली भी
Okay.
पकड़ तो ली. हाँ
हाँ, good point.
यस कोई स्क्रीनशॉट भी ले लो. एक मिनट पकड़ो. Please कोई स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो. We are looking very pretty and the covers are also looking nice. We have good hair day. Thank you. I'm sure somebody did.
Oh, thank you, Sukaina. I
Please do
hope you
check it out. If
enjoy
you
it.
enjoy fantasy Sukena, I'm sure you are going to enjoy reading Suchita's. So do check it out.
Thank
Okay.
you.
On that note, we are ending today's episode. Thank you for being my first guest for this season. It was so much fun. ऐसा श्री गणेश हो गया ये season का with on a very high note. So thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Manali. It's always a pleasure to talk to you about books and writing and reading.
Yeah, go ahead and have an awesome Sunday and go be your messy Sunday self.
Yes.
Bye. And
Bye.
bye everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining. Bye.
Yes.